So there I was, roaming the mean streets of the Mjolnir, where I was looking for an item that was lost. I needed to locate it.
Mr. Code?
Ah! Don't sneak up on me like that! There he was, the judge. Rather suspicious looking fellow.
How are you talking without moving your mouth?
I figured he'd be my next lead.
You know I can hear you, right?
Who knows what nefarious items he could be hiding in that beard? Perhaps my lost item?
Okay, seriously, what do you want?
Fine. A mystery is ahoof.
Really? And what is that?
The crime of the century. Some pony has stolen my pants. I know, you two are speechless at the seriousness of the crime.
Mr. Code,
Oh, you have a clue? A lead? A culprit? A confession?
You don't wear pants.
Darkness, despair, deoxyribonucleic acid. It was my folly all along. I wonder, will I ever recover the pants that never were? Will I ever find my purpose? Meaning? Will this pain last forever?
There, that better?
The old pain is gone, but the new pain, it burns.
Happy to be of service.
Ow.
Objection!
Hello, every pony. I'm MasterCode, your ace analyst, and today we'll be taking a look at issue number 12 of the MLP G5 comics. So Zipp is helping Hitch set up a podcast to reach out to the citizens of Maretime Bay to help him out with cold cases in town. Odd, as you figured it would be Pip, the social media guru that she is, but I actually don't mind this, but rather see it as a passion that Pip normally has, rubbing off on her sister. We know that Zipp doesn't particularly like being in the limelight of social media, a difficult task due to her sister's massive online presence, but this does show growth despite how minimalistic it appears, in realizing the benefits social media can bring, particularly in bringing info to cold cases. She's not doing it for fame, but rather to help out ponies in need. Plus, it gives the Pegasus an excuse to assist and flex her detective skills more. Another thing this comic has going for it is the dynamic between Hitch and Zipp. They show some great on-panel chemistry. Two ponies in law enforcement, or pseudo-law enforcement in Zipp's case, coming together to share a common passion for solving mysteries and wanting to help ponies. They work off each other great, and while they are actively solving the case, the friendship between the two is just so cute with how in tune they are with one another. Although, from this smoldering look, maybe she wants to be more than friends.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
And that's another thing this comic has going for it, the artwork. We have Meverson and Breckle penning this issue's art, and I've got to say, one of my favorite things are the expressions. Every pony's face in every panel is just oozing with personality, yet it never feels over the top that it doesn't fit within the style of the story it's telling, and overall conveys the emotion of each character rather well. Though, I was kind of hoping it would go back and forth between color during the podcast scenes and go full-on noir during the investigations to give the comic a little more of a unique identity. But as is, the art complements the story rather well, giving decent foreshadowing or hiding elements in plain sight to clue the reader in on the outcome. Plus, the background elements are detailed, adding depth and an opportunity for background gags as well. So with all that out of the way, we should discuss the story actual. This cold case revolves around Pansy Silverbell, a multi-time baking champion in Maretime Bay. At the last competition, however, the mare had officially entered, but never turned up, and has never been seen ever since. The winner of the last competition was another resident named Dahlia, who won the sponsorship given by Duncan Hindquarters. Yes, that's right, folks. The contest that was sponsored for 10,000 bits was by a company essentially named Duncan Butts. Butts. Now that's just asinine. Thus inciting the mystery of the missing cupcake. If I had an issue with the initial premise, I get it's a cold case, but we're not given a frame of reference of how long this disappearance has been. Thus, we have no idea how long she's actually been missing. Is it an annual bake-off? Monthly? Weekly? Biannually? I don't know. All we know is that she never showed up to the last competition. I bring this up because it kind of affects the impact of the reveal, but we'll get to that later. Now, the format of the comic will typically introduce a segment, with Hitch recording an episode of the podcast, then through the help of his loyal viewers, finding some new tidbits of information about Pansy, then interviewing various folks around town who cited her or were her friends or foes, including Dahlia. I also like how we're finally seeing the old, competent Hitch that we saw in the New Generation movie. Going full-on law enforcement, grilling ponies for information, going over the top in his approach, and it's great. I've already said my piece in the past why I don't like how they changed Hitch's personality in Make Your Mark, but needless to say, it's night and day. And this is the representation of the law pony I want to see. He's sympathetic but stern, bold in his approaches, making logical deductions showing his wit, and a lot of comedy stems from his propensity to hold up the law.
You betray the law!
Anyway, Hitch eventually receives an email from some pony having some critical information about Pansy and her whereabouts, and meets said pony in the park the next day, only to reveal it's actually Dr. Doom? Huh, I never knew the doctor was into baking.
Yes, Doom has a new hobby beyond playing a Pokemon Yellow randomized Nuzlocke.
No, actually, it's Pansy. Huh, okay. So it turns out she's not missing and has literally been in plain sight with all the other food trucks in the area. More specifically at the Blossom Bowl, conveniently kept in shadow. And it's here where things fall apart. The build-up to this whole thing has been executed rather well until this point, though this reveal does bring up some, interesting observations? Take, for instance, the scene of Zipp bringing Hitch lunch, which also happens to be from Pansy's food truck Blossom Bowl, i.e. she literally went to the food truck and spoke with the mayor to purchase the food face to face. And Zipp specifically said she went out to bring lunch and didn't have it brought by somebody else, so she would have directly saw and conversed with the missing mayor. Alright, before we go deeper, I figure it's time to explain what's going on with this whole missing deal. After seeing all the hubbub with Pansy's quote-unquote disappearance, specifically Hitch's podcast, she finally decided to come out and reveal herself. Apparently, Pansy left Maretime Bay before the last competition as she hated how her success was ruining her friendship with Dahlia, with her always depressed when losing in the bake-off to her every time. Pansy left to go find herself and discover what was most important for her in her life, and in secret returned to her passion of baking, the thing that made her happy, all the while wanting to ensure her friend's happiness as well.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, I can see where she's coming from. Pansy didn't want her friends to be hurt by her successes and is self-sacrificing and letting her friend win. Nice gesture. Plus, sometimes in life, when we're in a mental quandary, we all need to go off and find ourselves to achieve any true meaning, or to reignite a passion that may have faltered and find balance of happiness in life. Alright, fine. On the other hoof, you've basically been lying to your friends and the whole town about your disappearance. Do her parents know she's missing? Or are they unaware that all of this transpired? Hard to believe with the amount of awards and publicity the mayor's had. She does admit that she handled this poorly, okay, so there is that. Although again, it doesn't make sense because ponies have directly ordered from her food truck face to face, so it's impossible that at least one customer wouldn't have recognized her, again due to her bakery fame in town. She even has a street named after her. Or has she just been wearing a disguise the whole time?
A new tomorrow! A new Doom!
I'm officially declaring that the reality of Pansy being Dr. Doom, canon. Now, remember how I mentioned earlier that we have no frame of reference of time passing since her disappearance? Well, this is where it comes back. If she had been missing for a year, she would have kept her friends and family in the dark and they would have been worried sick about her. And even if it's only been like a month or so, the plausibility of staying hidden is still highly improbable. Also, if Pansy felt guilty about beating Dahlia every time in the bake-off, here's an idea that could have avoided this whole minutia. Just don't enter the competition, right? She doesn't have to feel guilty and Dahlia reaps the rewards, and they remain as friends and all as well. Of course, then, we wouldn't have a comic. And just a side note, I do appreciate that they didn't make Dahlia a selfish brat when losing, otherwise there would be no sympathy for her. And at the very least, Pansy also sent Dahlia a message about her return. A little late, but whatever. With all that being said, despite a third act not being so great, Honestly, it didn't really detract from my enjoyment of the comic. True, the whole point of a mystery is to have a satisfying conclusion with all the clues given to the reader over time, and end with everything making sense. If you plug this tale into any real-world scenario, yeah, the reveal and reasons behind it are kind of dumb, but the emotions behind said reasons and the dialogue between every pony are what sell this, and still made this enjoyable. I had fun with Hitch and Zipp playing off each other and hanging out. I love the stallion going around enforcing the full power of his law, and the emotions during the interactions felt genuine. So despite the issues, I can't say I hated this comic, but if the ending ruined it for you, I totally understand. Either way, I still recommend checking it out. Well, that's it for today, guys. Until next time, MC out!